different format for the convention this year, but it is a nice way to kind of keep all of us connected on one screen. So good to see all of you. What I've told is that we'll kind of work through everyone and we'll go about 10 to 12 minutes for each singer. And then at the end, we'll save some time for questions. If you have anything to ask me about the program here at Oberlin or about the teaching or the masterclass, happy to answer anything I'm able to at the end of our session together. So with that, I think let's start with Amelia with Haydn Röslein, yeah?
Great, thank you. My name is Amelia Bailey. I'm a 16-year-old, and today I will be singing Haydn Röslein by Schubert. Let me just press the track. Sah ein Knab ein Röslein stehen, Röslein auf der Heide, war so jung und morgenschön, liebes stilles Nasensehen, saß mit vielen Freuden. Röslein, Röslein, Röslein rot, Röslein auf der Heiden. Knabe spreu bredig, Röslein auf der Heiden, Röslein spreust dich, dass du ewig dankst an mich, und ich will's nicht leiden. Röslein, Röslein, Röslein rot, Röslein auf der Heiden. Und der wilde Knabe brass, Röslein auf der Heide, Röslein wird aus See und Stach, auf wie du komm wir immer und ich will nicht leiden. Röslein, Röslein, Röslein rot, Röslein auf der Heiden. Thank you.
Very nice, good for you, congratulations. So do you say Amelia? How do you say
Amelia.
your? Amelia, okay, very nice. So what year are you in high school?
I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore, wonderful. How long have you had private lessons?
About 6 years.
Good for you, very well done. That's a great song. How long have you been working on this piece?
For about a month, give or take.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Have you studied German in a classroom or just the diction of German?
I have not. I've been learning it as I learn my material. I'm going to take language classes in the future.
Very good. I highly recommend it, of course. But your German is pretty good. There are a couple of little suggestions I'd like to make with addiction, and then we can talk a little bit about what's going on in the song. I like this because it's 3 verses, so you can kind of do different intentions throughout each verse. And then also we can talk about, how that story progresses throughout the whole selection. And so you can just talk about what's different at the beginning to what's at the end and so how that changes. Mostly the general comment I'd like to make is some of the ending consonants I was not hearing strongly enough. And so I know sometimes that's the back CH, right? The ach, stach, yeah. Those kinds of things are challenging to make as singers, but I still need to hear a little bit of something on those sounds. Could we just briefly speak through each verse and then we'll go back and sing it through again? So would you speak the first verse?
Sah ein Knab ein Röslein stehen, Röslein auf der Heiden.
Good. Make sure the S in the middle of Röslein is not an SH, but just a regular S. Röslein, Röslein, yeah?
Röslein.
There you go.
Röslein auf der Heiden.
Good.
War so jung und morgenschön, lieber schnell es nachzusehen.
Good. Just a couple of things here. War so jung. So that's a Z sound. War so jung und morgenschön. Say that.
War so jung und morgenschön.
Yeah, so that S is a voiced Z sound and not a so, but so. So. Yeah. And then lief schnell. Say that.
Lief schnell.
There you go. Es nachzusehen.
Es nachzusehen.
There you go. And then saß mit vielen Freuden.
Saß mit vielen Freuden.
Yeah, and the MIT is more of a I and not an E. So mit, yeah?
Okay.
Good. And then say the last little phrase.
Röslein, Röslein, Röslein rot, Röslein auf der Heiden.
Very good. Do your best to give the R a little bit of a flip so it doesn't sound too American, right? Because it's easy to get into Röslein, Röslein, but Röslein, Röslein, rot. So just a little bit of a flip, maybe even a little bit of a roll, but you don't want to get too much, but you don't want to do the opposite thing of just having an American R, right? Because that's not good. Good.
Yeah.
Speak the second verse then, please. That's very good.
Knabe sprach, ich breche dich.
Yeah, so I need to hear that. I need to hear that CH a little bit more at the end of Sprach, right?
Okay.
I don't hear any sound at all right now.
Okay. Knabe sprach, ich breche dich. Röslein auf der Heiden.
Very good. So make sure you're getting the difference between the two CHs. You know that one is the back one after the A vowel is Sprach, right? And then the one after breche is the front one, the Ich-Laut, we call that. And that's in the front where like you would say Hugh. And so breche is in the front, but Sprach is the one in the back. So it just depends on which vowel it follows, right? Okay, say that verse again. Very good.
Okay. Knabe sprach, ich breche dich.
Very good.
Röslein auf der Heiden.
You've got it.
Röslein sprach, ich steche dich, dass du ewig denkst an mich.
Good. Just a couple things there. Ich steche dich. So the beginning of STE, that's the SH sound. Steche dich.
Steche dich.
Good. That CH is the front one. Steche.
Steche.
dich. You're getting it.
Okay.
And dass du ewig.
Dass du ewig.
Yeah, that G is actually the front Ich-Laut as well. So it's not a K sound, but that sound, that nice clear one.
Okay. Dass du ewig. Still going? Okay.
Yeah.
Denkst an mich.
Denkst an mich.
Denkst an mich.
Denkst. Not da, but denkst, yeah?
Denkst, yes. Okay. Und ich will's nicht leiden.
Good.
Röslein, Röslein, Röslein rot, Röslein auf der Heiden.
Good. So the challenge with this second verse is to still make sure that you're doing the CH in the back for Sprach, but then in the front for Ich and breche and steche, all those ones are in the front. And then after the ewig, that G is actually that front position as well. So just remembering when that occurs, right? But you're doing really good with the German, so good for you. I know it's a challenging language, so applause to you. Okay, just do the third verse then.
Okay. Und der wilde Knabe brach.
Good.
Röslein auf der Heiden.
Yes.
Röslein wehrte sich und stach.
Good.
Haf doch kein Web und Ach.
Yeah, this is a mouthful, I know. So Röslein wehrte, say that.
Röslein wehrte.
Right, and then this one is z, so sich und stach.
Sich und stach.
Good, and then half ihm doch kein.
Half ihm doch kein.
Yeah, I know German is such a mouthful. But you're doing great, but it's just sometimes sorting through those different vowel sounds, right? It's really good. And then weh und ach.
Weh und ach.
Good. And then keep going.
Muss es eben leiden.
Good. The third word, it's a brighter A vowel, so eben, not eben, but eben, yeah? So muss es eben leiden.
Muss es eben leiden.
Yeah, very good. Now, why don't you try singing it all again and see if you can apply some of these corrections, and then we'll move on. But very good work. So good for you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sah ein Knab ein Röslein stehen, Röslein auf der Heide, war so jung und morgenschön, lieber schnelles nach so sehen, saß mit vielen Freuden. Brass, Röslein auf der Heide, Röslein wird es sie uns Dach, ach, wir doch kann wir noch, was ist leiden. Röslein, Röslein, Röslein rot, Röslein auf der Heiden.
Very nice. You made some nice corrections throughout there. Good for you. I would say the third verse still has some things to look at. So just make sure that you're giving a little bit of attention to that. It's the second and third phrases that you're still leaving out some of the ending consonants. So just take a careful look at that. I always say that the best kind of practice you can do is keep speaking this through. So speak it outside of the rhythm of the music, and then speak it in the rhythm of the music. So you get used to both ways, so that you're actually speaking it in conversational style, and then speak it again with the rhythm that you have to do that the composer gave to you. But what I also noticed is that you were much more specific with your intentions. Your face was much more alive, so that was good. Keep thinking about that, because you always want to look like you know what you're singing about. So that's always an important thing. But very good. Keep up the good work, and it was so nice to hear you. So
Great, thank you so much.
thank you. So Nina is next, I believe.
Hi,
Hello, Nina. How are you?
I'm doing really great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So I see you have some foray, yes?
Yes.
And how long have you known this piece?
I've been working on it since about February of this year.
Okay, that's good. A couple of months then, nice. And how's your French? Have you taken French before? Is this diction that's you've been working on?
First French piece that I've ever had the chance to work on.
Yeah, French has some challenges, but it's a great, beautiful language for singing. I love it.
Pretty.
I think sometimes we just wait on French because there's so many rules to learn, but once you learn all those rules, it's so beautiful and so satisfying to sing as a singer. I love it. So why don't you go ahead and do your performance, and then we'll talk about some things throughout that we can work on a bit. So I look forward to it. Hey, beautiful. Very nice.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it sounds very good in your voice. It's a good place for you, and the language I think is a really good fit for your vocal sound. So your sound is clear. You're making really good intentions happen. I see that you're nicely connected to the text, so that's really great. Good for you. Good, 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 good. Tell me, for you, what is this kind of subtext about this song? So what is this about? We're talking about love, of course, but
Of
what
course.
is what is this about for you?
Well, the way that I think of it is it's a person, I guess, explaining to another person all of like the small things that they love about that person. Like, I know that the first few lyrics are I love your eyes, I love your forehead, oh my rebel, oh my wild one. So it's like a very passionate love song.
Right. And so what person are you in this dialogue? So,
I guess I'm like the person who's trying to explain to the other person how much I love them.
right. So put yourself into that dialogue. And so it really makes a more personal connection for you when you're singing it. Right. And so I think sometimes it's easy for us to maybe sing about something and kind of be an observer of what's happening. But when you put yourself into the emotion and put yourself into the text, it makes it much more realistic for us. And then we are on a great journey with you in storytelling. Right. And so
Yes.
that it's much more interesting for us to be a part of your dialogue and a part of your emotion instead of seeing you kind of observe something. We then can be a part of what you're trying to tell us because you're actually a part of this relationship, right? So that gives you a little bit more meaning and a bit more higher stakes for communicating that to us. So that's great. Can we take it from the beginning? And just I want to speak through a couple of phrases and then we'll go back and sing it through again at the end. But I just want you to kind of speak through a couple of things. French is very good though, very good sounds. Just a couple of little tweaks I'll make here and there, but mostly it's very good. So good for you.
Alrighty. Okay, so would you like me to
Just speak it from the beginning.
just 8 measures, maybe?
Yeah, and I'll stop and start you like I did with Amelia. Yeah.
Okay. J'aime tes yeux, j'aime ton front. Oh, ma rebelle, ma farouche.
Make sure that's O Marabello Mafarusha. So you wouldn't say that ending E because it would align to the next O.
Okay.
O Marabello Mafarusha, right?
Oh, ma rebelle, ma farouche.
Very good. Keep going.
Sorry, I just want to make sure that I have it.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
J'aime tes yeux, j'aime ta bouche. Oh, mes baisers s'épuiseront.
Yeah, baisers se puiseront.
Baisers s'épuiseront.
Se puis, right?
Oui.
Yeah. I almost hear an SH there. So just make sure it's a regular SE. Se puiseront, right?
Oui.
Yeah. Next phrase.
Alright. J'aimais ta voix, j'aimais l'étrange grâce de tout.
Grâce. It's just plain grâce. Grâce.
Okay. Grâce de
Yep.
tout ce que tu dis.
Yeah. Ce que tu dis.
Ce que tu dis.
Yeah. And so the first two words are very close together. Ce and que are very much the same vowel. And then the tu, that's that Y sound in IPA. It has both E and U in it. So U. Can you say that? Yeah. Yep.
Alright.
Ce que tu dis.
Ce que tu dis.
Yes, beautiful. Keep going.
Okay. Oh, ma rebelle. Oh, mon cher ange. Mon enfer est mon paradis.
Et mon paradis. Paradis, right?
Paradis.
One of those words is hard because we think about paradise, right?
Yes.
And we have to just say the ah vowel. So you would just say paradis, right?
Paradis.
Yes.
J'aime tes yeux, j'aime ton front. Oh, ma rebelle. Lo, ma
Yeah.
farouche.
So when that happens, it's called an elision. And so you take out the last vowel and you just do the vowel that comes right after it. So you take out the E and you just make it O. So ma rabello ma farusha.
Oh, ma rebello, ma farouche.
Yeah, so you don't say the E sound at all. You just go right to the O.
All right. Okay, cool. J'aime
Why don't we sing that much because there's so much language, right?
French.
Yeah, so let's go back to the beginning and sing that much through. Okay.
A cappella or with accompaniment?
Let's do it with accompaniment. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can just stop it when we get to this point, right?
J'aime tes yeux, j'aime ton front, oh, ma rebelle, ma farouche. J'aime tes yeux, j'aime ta bouche, oh, mes baisers épuiseront. Sorry, I forgot my lyric. Oh no.
That's okay. That's okay.
I always get pretty mixed up with the two A and B things. I
Right.
guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Because one starts lower, than one starts higher. I got it.
J'aime ta voix.
Yep. Ta voix.
Would you like me to start over again?
Is it easy to pick up where you stopped, or you can't do it that way?
Probably not. I'm on Accompanist. And
Yeah. Do it from the beginning again. No problem. Good. Can we stop it there then?
awesome. Okay.
Very good. Nice corrections made throughout. Still give some attention to that phrase that has the s, k, t, d.
That's
Yeah.
been the hardest one for me.
Yeah, and that's just when you get it correct. The challenge is then not to accent, right? When you're getting it in the correct sound. So it's just de, tu, ce, que, tu, dis. And it's just letting it rattle off because they're not overly important words, so you don't want to stress them, right? But we do want to hear that lovely u sound on the t for sure, right? But French is a good language for you. Your voice sounds really clear and nice in this French language. I love it. Do more French for sure. Let's just speak through the final phrase. We probably won't have time to sing the second half, but I'd love to hear you speak through the second half.
Okay.
So, j'aime tout. Yeah.
J'aime tout ce qui te fait belle.
Yeah. So remember that first word is the CE. That's just ce. So any E without an accent is always the schwa sound. It's a good thing to remember. Ce qui te fait belle, right?
Ce qui te fait belle.
Good.
De tes pieds jusqu'à tes cheveux.
Good. That's de tes pieds
De tes pieds
jusqu'à tes cheveux.
jusqu'à tes cheveux.
Yeah, it's another mouthful, right? It's like a lot of sounds. I get it.
Au toi vers qui monte tes neveux.
Yeah, this is really challenging because you don't say the final S. So it's
Yeah.
just vers. So au toi vers qui monte mes voeux.
Au toi qui monte tes neveux.
Yes?
Okay. On ma farouche.
Arouche.
Farouche marabelle.
Good.
J'aime tes yeux.
And this is all the same, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So make sure in this little section here, before you go on to the end, it's just making sure that all the E sounds that don't have accents, they're always a schwa sound. So just kind of file that up there. And then remember, ending S's usually will not be pronounced. They inform the vowel, but they aren't usually pronounced like we would do in English, right?
Yeah.
So you have de tes pieds jusqu'à tes cheveux. That's just a mouthful, I know. And then the next one, au toi vers qui monte mes voeux. Just say those two phrases before we go.
Okay.
From de tes pieds.
De tes pieds jusqu'à tes cheveux.
Tes cheveux.
Tes cheveux.
There you go.
Au toi vers qui monte mes voeux.
Yeah, monte mes voeux.
Monte mes voeux.
Very good. Nina, you're doing really well with this song. Thank you so much for singing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I really liked hearing you, so thanks. And I think we move on to Justin next.
Hello?
Hello, there's Justin.
Yes.
How are you?
By any chance?
Excuse me?
Can you hear me by any chance?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, you can? Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you will sing Amarilli, correct?
Yes, I will.
All right, very good. Tell me what year you are in high school?
I am a junior in high school.
Very good. And where do you live?
I live in Brooklyn, New York.
All right, very good. And how
Yeah.
long have you known Amarilli?
Oh, okay. So I learned Amadili in my freshman year, but then I took like a year and a half break from it. And
Okay.
then I re-picked it up in like January.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, great. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite 24 Italian songs. I love it very much. So
Oh my God, same.
good. Let's hear you sing this.
Awesome. Okay. 1 second, I just need my accompaniment. Amarilli, mia bella, non credi o del mio cor, da Genesino, d'esser tu. L'amor mio, credilo pur, esset in morta sale, dubitar non ti vale, aprimi il petto, invece è scritto in cuore. Amarilli, 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 egli mio amore, credilo pur, esset in morta sale, dubitar non ti vale, aprimi il petto, invece è scritto in cuore. Amarilli, 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 egli mio amore. Amarilli, egli mio amore. Thank you.
Okay, great, you're welcome. Very good. So tell me, who are you when you sing this song? Who are you? And then what are you singing about?
So this song is about this guy who's trying to tell this woman, Amadili, how much he loves her, but he doesn't really. He's trying to make her understand how much he loves her, and she's like, even though you might not understand, it's like I'm telling you, like
Right.
I love you with all my heart, you know.
Yeah, very good. So the challenge with a song like this that has a lot of repetition is to make the repetition mean something, right?
Right.
So you have to come up dramatically with something that gives you a reason for every phrase repetition so that doesn't always sound the same. So
Right.
you want it to mean something different. You want it to mean something more. You can change the dynamic. You can change your dramatic intention. All those things can be part of your process and just making it alive and more interesting throughout. And I think oftentimes the challenge with Italian songs is that we say the same thing over and over again, right? And
Right.
so one of the best dramatic exercises that you can do, and I suggest to my students, is that you put an active intention verb for each different phrase so that you're changing it and having a nice through line for your story so that I know that from the beginning to the end, something is happening and that I'll know by the time you get to the very final phrase that something is different by then, right?
Yeah,
I'd
totally.
love to see some sort of growth and some sort of experience that shows me and shows the audience that something is different by the time you're finishing with this song, whether
Right.
you're more in love, whether you're not as in love, whether you're still uncertain that you're still as in love. So all those things could change, right? And all those things could happen during the song, but it's a great way to give us an idea that there's a dramatic story that has that through motion going from beginning to end.
Yeah, totally.
And that's one of the best jobs that you can take on as a singer, is to make that storytelling more alive for us, right?
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
Tell me, quick technique question for you. When you're thinking about support for your sound,
Yeah,
what are
that's
you doing? What are you doing with your body to give more support?
well, in terms of breathing, I try not to use, of course, the shoulders. I try to breathe from the diaphragm.
Right?
Uh, and then I try to have like a ground body, like
What does
I feel a
support
little
mean to
more
you?
relaxed.
If I'd ask you for more support, what would that mean for you? What would you do?
More support. I mean, for me personally, I think I would breathe earlier. That's one of the issues. I don't breathe in time like I always, like that's one of the things. And also I think just to also be a little more relaxed maybe.
Okay, those are great things to remember about breathing and about posture,
Yeah.
but specifically, what is support?
Support in breath or just support in general?
Well, breath is breath and
Well,
support
breath
is
is support,
support,
yeah.
right? They're two different things. So what does support mean?
Well, well, support is like something that's grounding almost, or something that's helping something further, So-
Right. So support is the strength of singing, right?
Right. Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
so that's how we use our body to strengthen the sound, to connect to the sound.
Yeah.
And so in your description of it, just try to think that breath is something on its own, right? We want to have a good breath. We want to have a grounded
Yeah.
breath, but we also want to think about what support is in our bodies. And
Right.
sometimes that is something that needs more specificity for all of us. And so for me, support is maintaining that kind of buoyant connection below your rib cage in your intercostal
Right.
area and making sure that that area stays flexible and connected to your sound at all times.
Okay.
So that you're not letting that muscle area collapse at all when you're singing. And so, yes, it has to do with posture. Yes, it has to do what kind of breath you take, but it's actually a specific thing in that area of your body that you need to think about and
Right.
make sure you're maintaining that flexibility. Are you familiar with the Italian word that we use for support?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's called
Sorry.
appoggio. No, it's appoggio is what we call it. And appoggio means in Italian to lean. And so in the Italian school of singing, we're thinking about how to use our body in a way that is flexible and buoyant, and that gives you a connection to your body that you feel grounded, but you're moving something to counteract what might collapse. And so that's sometimes for young singers, one of the challenges is that we don't want to collapse our body, right? You
Yeah.
want to keep a noble posture. You want to keep things engaged. You want to be connected to your body. And so that gentle feeling in that rib cage area right below that is keeping that muscle area flexible. And that's for everybody, right?
Right. No, yeah.
So the more specific you can be about that, the better. So certainly talk to your teacher about how to make that an active part of your performance. And that will continue to strengthen your voice and to give it much more connection to your body, right?
Really.
Good. Can you sing the first phrase without your accompaniment and just sing the very beginning?
Totally. With or without? Sorry, I cut out.
Without the piano, just
Without, oh.
you alone first. Yep.
Totally. bella.
Good. Can you try that, Justin, with no breath?
Oh, okay.
And just do it in one phrase and think about where the phrase goes. So what's the most important word in that phrase?
Amarili.
Right. So it's Amarilli mia bella. Say that.
Amarili mia bella.
Make sure it's ama and a ame, but ama, Amarilli. Speak that again.
Mia bella.
Right. So make sure all the ahs are nice ah tall vowels and not ame, but ama.
Okay.
Amarilli. Say that.
Amarili.
Yeah, we want to especially say that word beautifully because we sing it a lot, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you want to have the name glorified in every way possible, but just making sure that the both of the first two syllables are nice ah vowels. Ama, Amarilli, Amarilli. Say that.
Amarili.
And then
Amarilli.
mia bella.
Mia bella.
And keep going to the second phrase. Speak that.
Okay. Non credo del mio cor.
Good. Now sing that much from the beginning. Still no piano, just you alone.
Okay. Amarili mia bella, non credo del mio cor.
Very good. So if you think about a longer phrase, your body knows how to connect to that. And then we get a better musical idea as well.
Okay.
And so both of those things will inform the others. So you're not having these little smaller places of breath, but a longer phrase, right?
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
Can you sing it now with your piano?
Yeah, totally. Wait 1 second. Sorry.
That's okay. It's the technology with these kinds of things, I know.
Mia bella.
Good. Can you do that without the breath?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know, and part of it, Justin, might be that the tempo might be a little slow, yeah. And I know we can't change that right now, but think about not using so much breath at the beginning on Amarilli, and just make sure you have a little bit saved to get you to the end of the phrase, yeah.
Okay.
Good. Try again. Good work.
Amarili mia bella, non credo del mio cor. Dolce desio d'esser tu, l'amor mio. Credilo pur, esset immorta sale. Dubitar non ti vale. Aprimi il petto, e fece scritto in cuore.
Good. Can you stop it there? Very good. Can we do aprimi il petto one more time? Make sure on ah, and I was trying to do this as you were singing it.
Yeah.
Make sure you're really finding a nice tall vowel.
Yeah.
Aprimi il petto. It gets a little ah for me, so it's a little too much nasal resonance.
Right.
Aprimi il petto. Speak that.
Aprimi il petto.
Good. And just sing that without the piano. Ah.
Aprimi il petto.
Good. The ah vowel was so much clearer. And now make sure that primil is also e and not e. E. Aprimi il petto.
Aprimi il petto.
Sing that one last time.
Aprimi il petto.
Good. So when you're thinking about the vowels, the body works better for you, and also the line works better. So my suggestion to you would be maybe finding a little faster tempo for your accompaniment. I know that's always challenging, right?
Yeah,
But
there
I
you go.
think that might work a little bit better for the phrasing that you're trying to do, so that you're
Okay.
not going to have to take so many breaths. And then really think about, Justin, what that means to connect to your body a bit more. And you'll notice that the vibration of your sound will start to even out a bit when you think about what your lower body is doing to help you foundation for your body, give you good body connections. So that's always something that leads into the phrase, so that it's not just about a breath, but it's also about feeling about what your body is doing to sustain the sound. And that's something that you just have to continue to work on. It's coordination, it's body development, all those kinds of things need to work together, right?
Okay, totally.
Good, very good work. Nice to hear you sing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care. Leah, how do you say your name?
Leah.
Leah, very good. And you sent me a little link for your song. Let me see if I can bring that up.
There should be a preview for it.
Oh, good. Yes, that seems to work. So very good. I know I've heard this before, but I just wanted to have something to look at. I couldn't find a copy in my office really quick. So, and remind me, so how old are you, or what year are you in school?
I'm 16.
16, great. And that means sophomore, junior?
In junior. I'm finishing school, taking a gap year.
Right, good for you. And where do you live?
Maryland.
Maryland, okay, very good. Let's hear you sing this, and then we'll talk a bit about it. Yeah, beautiful singing. Very good. So how long have you known this piece?
It was my winter piece.
It was your what?
Winter piece. It got me through the winter.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I love it. Where did you get your embellishments from?
My head.
Okay, you did those yourself? Great. Very nice. It's a nice, it wasn't too much because in a slower aria like this, you don't want to have it be too crazy, but I thought they fit in really well with the vocabulary of the language that was already set up. So it didn't distract, but it was just enough to give us a little bit of difference. So good for you. I wanted to ask you about your ah vowel on the C. It got a little bit too oh for me. I know that you're maybe doing that for positioning because when you're up on the F, it's a nice clear ah vowel. And so, yeah. And so can you do that? It's on the second page, right?
La mia.
Yeah, the G to the C. La mia speranza. Is that the G?
Yeah. La mia speranza.
Yeah, just think about that vowel staying in a really beautiful place. It got for me a little too oh almost, right? So were you thinking about changing it for a particular technical purpose, or was it just something that was coming out that way?
I was thinking getting more piano.
More piano? Yeah. And I think you could find the piano sound that you're looking for just kind of in that ah and not oh, oh. For me, the all position, the darker vowel, brought it a little too far back of your resonance. And the ah vowel, I think you can still find a quieter position that you like, and it might sustain a better position for the quality of the Italian that we're looking for, right? Can you do that one more time?
La mia speranza.
Yeah. So just play with how that feels in your voice, and so that it's not going to go back, but it can be in a lighter position with a higher quality of vowel. Ah, and not oh, ah, and then you can crescendo it for sure. But when you start with oh, you're kind of locked into a darker vowel, and then you kind of have to move out of that position. So does that make sense to you? Yeah. Okay, good. Who are you singing to and why? What's your dramatic intention here?
Here I am singing basically to myself. Irene has figured out that Tamerlano, her lover, not lover, he's the emperor who she's supposed to be married to, has just dropped the proposal completely. She's faithful to him. She doesn't get anything at this point.
Yeah.
She's what's happening, and then after that she goes and figures out what's happening.
Right. Great. I got that it was a very intimate kind of emotion for you. And the more that you can give us some variety in that emotion, the better, because it's beautifully sung. You have a beautiful sense of line. All of those things are really great. What I want, though, is a higher need for you to communicate to us what those emotions are. And so you can still keep in a simple way dramatically, but I want to see that it's different shades of that emotion, different qualities of that in-depth kind of introspective look at your emotions and what you're feeling at the time, so that you can give us a little bit more active place in that. Because I think oftentimes all of us find easy dramatic intention of, I'm so sad, this is making me feel so awful, and we kind of draw inward to that. And in performance, we need to see a little bit more active position of drama, so that that's what communicates to all of us. But again, you're singing it so beautifully, I don't want to change that. I just want you to think a little bit more actively about your dramatic intention. Yeah. And can you show me that on the very first phrase? We won't have a whole lot of time to work through because it's a beautifully long aria. I love it. But can you just sing the first phrase and think about where you want to go with that phrase, right?
Sposa, sorte sprezzata, vita, sono tragiata,
very good. So what I would love for you to explore is that those little phrases that lead up to the held out note, making sure that they're really beautiful lines. Sono trogiata, right? So it's not too separate. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a little syllabic on those smaller rhythmic values. So just making sure that you're really singing through that beautifully. Because then when you get to the top note, it's so beautiful and so beautifully sustained. But I want to hear those smaller values actually have that same kind of connection, even though they move a little bit more. And the same thing with the previous phrase, son disprezzata. Say that.
Son disprezzata.
Yeah, so you're not too explosive. Son disprezzata. Disprezzata, right? Say that.
Disprezzata.
Yeah,
Son
very good.
disprezzata.
Yeah, so if you can think about those lines moving in a really legato sense when you have the smaller values, then the ones that sustain on a longer note, they're even more beautiful because you've set them up with some really beautiful phrases beforehand too. I wish we had another half hour to work on this because it's such a lovely aria and it sounds beautiful in your voice. So congratulations to you and your teacher. So good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, everybody, I know we are almost out of time, but I'm willing to stay a few minutes if anyone has any questions about the class or about Oberlin. So
yes,
Jessica.
So if anyone has any questions, you can either just unmute yourself and ask, or you can put it in the chat, either or.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Amelia.
Yes, I have a question about what material you're happy to see in a college audition.
So for us at Oberlin, we first of all look for potential in our students. And so we want to see that it's something that's appropriate for your voice. We want to see a variety in repertoire. So we want to see something slow, something fast, and then certainly 2 different languages. But most importantly, I like to remind people is that it does not have to be a really challenging piece for you. I want you to represent yourself where you are in your own development. And that shows us more about what you're able to do, because we'll see potential in whatever you offer, but those are great things to keep in mind for us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there an age limit to be admitted? The age limit is just we look for high school seniors when we audition. And so we're looking for people right out of their high school training into undergraduate. We only have undergraduate programs, so.
Great. And then Nick is wondering, could you briefly talk about your grad program?
Yeah, we do not have a graduate program. So we're only an undergraduate institution, which is a great thing to keep in mind for Oberlin when you're comparing us to other schools. And so we provide all of our performance opportunities for our undergraduates. And so that's a great thing because you'll get opera roles, you'll get solos with our choirs, you'll get solo performances that oftentimes at other schools with master's programs, they often will give those to their upper level students. But at Oberlin, we provide those opportunities in our operas and in our performances for all of the undergraduates, which is really great.
Great. There's a question. What are some opera/performance opportunities that Oberlin gives students, since you're already talking about it?
Yep. So we do 2 full-length operas each year, one in the fall, one in the spring, and they're with full orchestra sets, costumes, completely professional. And then we have a winter term opera that's in our month of January when we're back in regular schedule. This coming year, it'll be a little shifted yet with COVID. But we do a winter term opera that traditionally in the last 2 or 3 years has been more contemporary. And so that's a time in that month where students can just focus on one thing. And then if you choose to do the winter term opera, that would be staying in Oberlin and working for 4 months on a newer piece. So there's 3 opera opportunities that we provide for our students throughout the year. And then there's also solos with our choir concerts, and then the normal recitals that most everyone provides as well. So.
Great, fantastic. Does anyone else have any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Leah.
How's the audition process?
So we have a screening process first where you'll submit recorded examples of your repertoire. And then from those recordings, we then decide who we're inviting. In this year with COVID, we just invited people to have a live conversation with one of our faculty members, and we narrowed it down a little bit, but there's a 2-step process. It's a screening process first, And then after the screening, we decide to invite a certain number of students to audition. And then usually that audition then non-COVID would be in person. You would come to Oberlin and sing for the voice faculty. So it's a two-step process.
Great. Lydia?
Does Oberlin and I guess other conservatories, do they do college interviews in the way that like other schools do?
What do you mean by college interviews? Like for graduate school, or just for
Just
the
for
process of
undergrad.
auditioning? For auditioning, you mean? Yeah. So if we're in person, part of the audition process is that we have you audition for us live. The voice faculty are in a concert hall, and that we hear your audition repertoire. We ask you a few little questions. And then part of the audition process also is that we give you a little theory exam just to see how you are on sight singing. But there's no official spoken kind of interview, but we just like to get to know you a little bit during the audition. So I see how many students are in the voice program. About 80 students on average, usually 20 per class. And that's obviously up and down depending on the year, but that's our average. So.
Great. Justin, did you have a question?
Auditions, do you sing like a full-length piece, or is it just like specific measures that we're supposed to sing, or is it like a full-length piece?
For a conservatory audition, we hear the whole selection, and so we give each student the opportunity to sing both of their selections in full, so we don't cut you off at all. So
okay, awesome.
Yep.
Great. Does anyone else have any other questions for our good friend Tim here?
Good questions, everybody, though. Yay.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Tim. Any last words?
You're welcome.
For our... Okay.
Yep. It was a pleasure to hear all of you that sang, and thank you all for also being in the audience, and for those that didn't sing. And I wish you all the best in your future. So please feel free to reach out to me. I'm available on the internet at Oberlin's website. So email if you have any questions. Thank you all.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a great evening. Hopefully see you again.
And thank you, Jessica. Yep.
Yeah, of course.
Bye.